Hey everybody, we are live. Spilled a little water on my shirt. Apologies. My name's Kevin Murcko. This is an AMA. You ask me anything, I answer. It's pretty simple. People have already asked questions. I'm going to jump in those in a second. I'm going to ask for a mic check though. I tried to get a new mic working right now, but I wasted a few minutes and I'm already 3 minutes over. So you're going to probably deal with a bit of echo today. Mic's okay. Okay, cool. So there'll probably be a bit of echo. New mic for next AMA. So and a bit less echoiness. I think just a bit less echo is probably the way to say that. So here we go. I'm going to jump right into it. First question up from RK. Congratulations on the gold medal. Let's throw that out there first. KDA stacking, I guess staking, actually bonding, coming back ever would be nice. Well, Kadena has mentioned, not to us, but we have heard through the grapevine that they have mentioned that bonding will come back. If it does, we'll look to support it. Gene, the ongoing question, Kevin, when will Coinmetro be able to receive deposits in USD? Yeah, it's definitely one of the ongoing questions. There's a few of them. That's one of them, Gene. Some progress there. So we were whittling through 3 or 4 different USD providers on off ramps, as it were. Considering that there's only probably one main and maybe 2 secondary banks in the US that actually process USD deposits for crypto on and off ramps, those banks have gotten pretty strict as to the rule set. I think I've explained this before, but for those who didn't hear it, and there you go, or here you go, those who have heard it, sorry. It's Thursday though, so if this was Friday, I wouldn't dish out the pain. Anyway, so those banks have gotten stricter. The on and off ramps require a specific flow of funds in order for us to be able to work with them. And that flow of funds isn't identical to our current flow of funds. So that means making some changes. Fortunately, we have some other larger changes in the works for a September, October release. So we have narrowed it down to, I believe, 2 potential on and off ramps. One looks more favorable. In the process, we are mapping out, or in the meantime, we are mapping out those different UI, user interface changes that need to happen for us to be able to utilize those services. So to put a date on it right now is difficult. I think it's probably another month of admin, 3 weeks of tech, potentially 4, so 2 months. Now, we've made some breakthroughs on some tech debt, which means we may have some more hands that could potentially make that 2 months into, I don't know, a month and a half. Though I think saying 2 months right now is probably more or less in the ballpark. So that puts us in, well, September. But with the release of these, let's say, new stuff, I would say, yeah, into October, September into October. Our goal is to get USD online. Our goal obviously was to get it on as fast as we could, but right now the goal is to get USD back in to the game before Q4. It's a pretty roundabout answer. I could have just said Q4, but anyway, there you go. Victor, hey man, hi Kevin. My questions in the group about trading conditions have been genuine. 3 people I don't know trade in CM. 3 people I know, don't trade in CM because it spread the slippage, even among blue chips. Okay. In my honest opinion, clients constantly trading should be integral part of a centralized exchange. Why have you said that's not the case for CM? Clients constantly trading should be an integral part. Okay, you're going. You continue here. And I'm sorry for writing negative about some of the listed alts. Isn't FUD and has nothing to do with Coinmetro. It's just open, honest, what I know. Okay, so I think that sums it up. Okay, so I think what you're trying to say is, why aren't we focusing on traders, quote unquote? Now, my definition of what a trader is probably different, maybe not to yours, but to probably the general understanding of what a trader is, let's say in our group. I think, a lot of people in crypto call themselves traders. They're not. A lot of people have a bot that they bought and they hook it up and they call themselves a trader, and they're not. Some people would call themselves traders because they try and day trade in crypto. And I still generally wouldn't call them traders. But the definition of aside, with the data that we have and the data analysis that we've done, our bread and butter, so to speak, where we make our money, are what we would define as crypto curious. What that means is, I guess, to explain what that means, is that someone that has probably already bought in crypto, knows a bit about crypto, maybe have done some DeFi, maybe had an account at, Coinbase or some other larger exchange, and then looks either for a better alternative because of potentially customer support, potentially pricing, potentially access to assets that don't exist on the platform they're using, and end up with us. That is generally where we make the most money. Not, and that's including different platforms and that's including different services, but that's generally the profile. Right now, what we want to do before Q4 is make sure that that profile is the best it can be served on Coinmetro. Amazing onboarding, very fast and intuitive app, things like Apple Pay, Google Pay, DCA, and getting into staking. And that's what we want to support by the end of this year, the best possible way we can. Then the next step is to support both API as well as what I guess we can broadly define as traders. Why do them second? We make way less money on them. Now, you could make an argument that we could make way more money on them. Sure. But in order to get to our goals, we want to make sure we don't alienate where we make the most money now and service those clients to the best that we can. And so, yeah, we will get there. And when I say we'll get there now, we'll actually get there. I know, in the past, I guess this happens with lots of businesses, and I have been known to be a bit too transparent sometimes, even though I didn't really think that was a thing. I know it's a thing now. People would tell me it was a thing. I was like, that's not a thing. It's a thing. So anyway, having said that, it's not that I don't think, that they're good for Coinmetro. I just think we need to stick with where we currently stand and then build on top of that. So Q4, focus on a certain client profile or client profiles. Q1, focusing much more on a broader trader style. And then going out from there, we have, lots of different services and features and et cetera that we plan to add to support those, let's say, several different client groups. Hope I caught your question. If I didn't, you can ask again, Victor. And no worries on having, open discussions in our Telegram channel or wherever. That's what it's for. Hey, Kevin, sound okay? Forehead okay. How far are you in the tech debt to enable focus back on new development? We're pretty deep. We made some pretty good advances over the last few days, actually, this week and early last week. I think next week we're going to have a much better picture of how much we've actually cracked. But I would say we've taken a pretty good leap forward and next week we'll be able to focus on the exact plan. We have a plan, but now we can optimize that plan based on work that's been done over the last days. Where are you at? I am in Portugal, Jet Fuel. Hey, your mother. Hey, Kevy. Wow. Is it like a term of endearment now? Are we best friends? Do you think we'll see a final shakeout before the bull run, or did the recent political events warp our timeline? Well, I was waiting for somebody. I'm not political in nature, to be honest, but I love talking me some politics, especially U.S. politics, mainly because that's where I grew up, but also because somehow they're just usually, well, at least for the past 8 to 12 years, they've been interesting. Maybe that's just because I'm old now. I don't know. Not to say that French politics can't be interesting, and German politics can't be interesting, and Italian politics can't be interesting, and UK, well, that's not really all that interesting, but it can be interesting. But yeah, final shakeout. I think in general terms, look, fundamentals push markets. Technicals tell you to a certain extent where the market will go when fundamentals kick in. And I would say, yes, there's still possible for a shakeout, sure. Basically, it's still possible to range up through, the end of the summer into September. As we get into September and October, I think we will start to get some more direction. Given the recent events in U.S. politics, I would say there's little chance that we don't see a Republican in office, and that should be bullish. However, there will be, I think, a bit of a shaky few weeks. It does appear now that Biden's going to get pushed out of the race. Does that mean Kamala Harris comes in? Does that mean they nominate someone else? If they want to keep the money they raised, it's probably going to be Kamala. What does that mean? That may give some uncertainty for a bit of time where people think that Kamala, because polls may show initially that whoever it is potentially could beat Trump. And that could kind of give you what looks like a direction, i.e. a shakeout. But I think the writing's on the wall at this point. Whatever you think about what transpired, ever since, the Russian collusion idea, all the way through the last election, all the way up until now with the attempted assassination attempt, or, whatever you think that might be, they've pretty much handed them the election. I mean, there's not much they can do else to make sure this man wins the election. So there you go. Cadena bonding is supposed to be launched this month. All right, well, we will see. I don't want to say that they're not accurate on the predictions, but I have no idea. So, but if it is, we'll look to support it. Does the MT Gox fund 9 billion repayment hold any substance? Germany only had 3 billion and BTC dropped. Well, I'm not sure BTC dropped necessarily because of 3 billion being sold versus the fear of what would happen when 3 billion was sold. If you look at you can go to CoinMarketCap right now. Here, I'll do it while we're sitting here. Let's see. If I head over to if I could spell it. I typed in CoinMarketCap, but fortunately, DuckDuckGo is smarter than I am. So here we go. So volume today in Bitcoin, for example, as per CoinMarketCap. So I'll throw that, that piece of information out there. Is what? 27 billion. So, does 9 billion make a difference? If it's even all one-sided? Of course, not all 9 billion would be sold. That would be ridiculous to think. It might be half, might be a third, might be 10%. Who knows? But even, 3 billion, what? 27 billion. So, you can kind of, even if you don't understand market mechanics, the price today is what? Over the last 24 hours, down 1.5%, which means the majority of that money, small majority of that money, was on the sell side. So probably, let's say it's 27 billion, it's 13.5 billion. There's probably 14, 15 billion, maybe 15.5, maybe even upwards of 16 billion on the sell side versus 11, 12, 13 billion on the buy side. Would another 3 make a difference? Would another 9 make a difference? Would it all hit the market on the same day? Probably not. So no, I don't think. In fact, I think what affected the market because of the news was a combination of the German news, the potential they were selling, as well as everything else that's happened in the news, whether that be Trump, whether that be Supreme Court, whether that be SEC ruling, all these different things. Some were positive, some were negative for Bitcoin, but it's people being scared and selling that had a bigger cause than the actual sell pressure. Any beans to spill on how Mars revamp will be and how close we are to launch? Well, in terms of close to launch, we're not close in real terms. Like, it's not tomorrow, it's not next week. Tech debt played a role in that, but the removal of tech debt in the short to medium term, definitely short term, has a much bigger positive impact, I believe, on the business entirely than Mars will. Though in the long run, I think Mars will have a big impact, and in the medium term as well. Medium meaning 6 to 12 months once launched. So Q4 is probably when you're going to see Mars. We may be able to get something out and, towards the tail end of Q3. If the advances I think we've made on tech debt, we've actually made, I mean, it gets solidified after tests next week and the week after, then that timeline could change briskly, right? We could see a big change there, and it could be moved up. But that remains to be seen, so we will see. But the Mars revamp itself, we've basically covered exactly what that's going to look like. That doesn't mean we're going to try not attempt to add more features and make it even more sexy when it rolls out. The fact, obviously everybody knows the floor has been removed. XCM is kind of finding its way. It seems like it's found at least an intermediate kind of bottom. There is now market making on XCM, surprise, surprise, as of yesterday. Now, right now, it is not necessarily in a test phase, but it's in a minimum amount of volume, let's say, and that volume is going to pick up over time. So, but it has started. So market making has started. Hopefully it goes well, and that market maker will also hopefully assist us on other pairs. So we are moving in the right direction with all things XCM, and Mars is a big piece of that. Can we get stablecoin pairings with assets in order to avoid taxable event? Yep, that's definitely being discussed. In fact, going forward, at some point in the very near future, we are probably going to slim down the amount of Euro, USD, and Pound pairs that we have outside of majors, and everything will be listed against stables. And it's not really because of tax implications, though I'm glad that benefits you, Paul. It's going to be more about getting kind of, let's say, aggregation of available depth and liquidity. Also, the vast majority of volume crypto-wide happens on stable crosses, USDT to be exact, but also if you calculate all stables versus fiat stables win. And so it kind of kills two birds with one stone, I guess. Probably more than two, maybe 5 birds with one stone. I would pronounce this name, but I can't. Simple as that. Are you going to have a few beers with CZ when he's released from jail? Probably not. But I don't know. CZ, what's he doing? He's got like an educational thing or something that he wants to focus on. I don't know. I guess remains to be seen as well once he's out of jail. If I don't know what kind of deal he signed, right? I haven't seen the deal. But I'm assuming the U.S. government's quite happy with the data trove that they got from Binance. Like every transaction ever transacted on Binance and an attached name. Even though a lot of that's probably non-KYC, but still, I think they're probably happy with that. But I assume there was a deal that had some qualifiers. If this, then that. Like, if you're lying to us, then that. And I'm not saying CZ lied to the DOJ or whatever, but I don't know if he didn't. So I don't know if that 4 months is going to be, the end of this, but we'll see. But if I get a beer invitation, I'll go have a beer and then report back to you guys. So even though I don't even drink beer, but I'll do it for you guys. Do you see Parsec having a future? I don't understand why reverse oracles need to become a layer 1, layer 2. Same with Credo. So yeah, Parsec. Look, I made a comment, and I'll make the comment again in case everybody missed it. That historically speaking, let's say since Ethereum launched, and then we started having altcoins, etc., or at least a large amount of altcoins. Most altcoins have one good bull run, unless they are either infrastructure layer 1, and when I say infrastructure, that includes things like exchange tokens, for example, but it includes other infrastructure, but mainly layer 1's an infrastructure. That doesn't mean that can't change, by the way, but that's. And I say the majority, high percentage. Unless you're in the top 50, then game changes a bit. Maybe even the top 100. But if you're number 872 and you made it to number 348, and now you're back at 1145, it's probably not going to happen again. That's what I'm trying to say. So now with Parsec, Parsec obviously is coming out with layer 1. Do they need a layer 1? For the services they want to offer their end users? I guess that depends on the problems they're looking to solve, how they want to solve them, and how independent they want to be of someone else's tech, decentralized or otherwise. So I don't think them adapting a layer one is a bad idea. To what I just said, it may actually mean from a price action standpoint that they become uh, much more bulletproof when it comes to price action through bear to bull markets. Now, is that the reason they're doing it? I don't think so. But if you can look for yourself, you can do some research and look at what altcoins have done well in multiple bull markets, and you'll see for yourself. When it comes to Credo, so I said this before, I think Credo was a bit ahead of its time. When Credo originally came to us and talked to us, it was maybe 6 months or 8 months after I talked to someone at Ledger, and I told them that they should do non-custodial, and they told me why no one would use it. Just for a note, they now do non-custodial. So do Fireblocks, and so does many other companies. I think Credo might have been too soon and not funded well enough to compete, to get through the too soon period and then compete with everyone else once everyone else figured out that what they were trying to do made sense. And Credo may have made the mistake of focusing on infra and kind of focusing on things that, rather than focusing on what the competition already had, to make sure they could beat the competition once the competition knew that what they were doing made sense. They may have been focusing on the wrong things. And I'm not saying they were. This is a very, very high level opinion. And I haven't talked to the guys at Credo for quite some time. Tokenomics aside, because we've had this talk about tokenomics before. The way tokenomics look on paper, the way they're interpreted by traders, and the way they're interpreted by just regular retail investors, doesn't necessarily mean that they have the perceived effect on the actual price, to be honest. What really matters is less the tokenomics and more the market dynamics. Now, tokenomics affect market dynamics, but market dynamics are always going to be more important. You could have 1 trillion worth of tokens in your circulating supply, but you don't necessarily understand the dynamics of those trillion tokens. Those trillion tokens, there could be a certain percentage owned by people that simply, don't need to sell at any point. They either take the loss or they take a big gain, and they're going to sit and sit and sit. Then there may be, some smaller VC holders in there that are going to dump as soon as they're able to make a profit. Then there may be big retail holders or big investment holders that want to dump at a loss, but you never know. Anyway, so market dynamics plays a big role. I still think Credo has tech that no one else necessarily has. They offer features that no one else necessarily has. I still think they have a shot, but the longer they wait to take that shot, the more difficult it's going to be. And I say that from some level of experience, because I would say Coinmetro, in some ways, has been down a similar road. We had a lot of ideas that no one else was doing. We tried to focus on certain things. We may have focused on the wrong things. Because of that, we've hit some speed bumps and hit some roadblocks, and may have moved slower than we would have liked. But we've had enough tenacity to get where we are now. And I think at some point, one of those old ass adages about Rome wasn't built in a day and all this other shit will be there'll be a right time to say those things. So I kind of feel a bit of empathy for the Credo team in that sense. I know they're still working, obviously under a new banner now, etc. Open, but yeah, I still think the idea has legs, is what I'm trying to say. Related to your mother's question, I got confused there for a second. Does that kind of BTC volatility, even with such market cap and so high volume, somewhat prove it's real low liquidity and not much constant demand? Well, it could, but you would need to have specific data to be able to make that conclusion. My opinion is that, as I said, it was a sell the news and not necessarily the actual selling that caused the price to fall. Now, all these markets are OTC. So let me virtually whiteboard this for you. I mean, not really. I guess I could. I probably could whiteboard on this thing, but I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be messy. No one will understand what I'm saying or drawing. Um, you have to remember that while most liquidity, most volume ends up flowing through the same X amount of venues. I don't know, to be honest. I know in FX there's 5 banks, of which 3 take the majority of the volume. We don't really have enough data in crypto to really understand, but you can look at CoinMarketCap and understand that Binance basically picks up volume from the top 15, 20 exchanges. They're all clearing for there, either directly or directly. And so when you look at Binance's volume and everybody else's, you can pretty much get rid of the other top 100 exchanges because it's all flowing at some point back to Binance. Having said that, these are still OTC markets. Even if, meaning over the counter literally means there's no centralized pricing authority, right? If you go on a stock exchange, NASDAQ, FTSE, CAC, Dow, whatever, that exchange is the price. If you go to a broker, they price you at that price. Everybody uses the same price. So you can't, you may get a late price, so it may seem different, but in reality, and you can try to arbitrage it, but good luck with that. But in reality, you're getting all pricing from a single point and executable pricing, not quotes, because you could almost say that crypto is no longer OTC when it comes to quotes, because quotes come from TradeView, CoinMarketCap. Actually, TradeView probably gets it from CoinMarketCap. So CoinMarketCap basically provides quotes. Which is who? Binance. So again, there's a lot of centralization. However, it doesn't take away the fact that it's OTC. So imagine the fact that you may have that 3 billion worth of selling happening on 4 venues, and those 4 venues may only have 200 million in each of those books. And when they sell 500 million into a 200 million book, price falls 10%. Now, what that causes, if it's a big enough venue, Kraken, for example, Binance may be clearing some of their risk through Kraken, potentially. But even if they aren't, they're probably following pricing. And the bigger traders that trade on Binance are also looking at pricing across a broad range of OTC markets. So they notice that Kraken just fell. So what are they doing? Well, they want to get on the other side of that. So they'll probably, smart ones are putting in buy orders at maybe 7-8% inside that book. But others want to make sure that if the market does move that way, they're not losing money on potentially hedged exposure, et cetera. So they're selling into it as well. And there you have kind of this domino effect where price moves on one single OTC book and causes the rest of the market to follow. So that's also a possibility. But without having enough data to tell you which one it may be, I tend to believe in this specific instance, it was, as I said, the news more so than the actual sell price. Do you think Ethereum is the next Ethereum? No. I think Ethereum is Ethereum, and I honestly don't think we're ever going to have an Ethereum killer. There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, I hate to make this kind of comparison, but think about USD. There's a lot of things wrong with USD. And every 10 years or so, 15 years, there's USD is going to die. And USD doesn't die. This has been going on for a long time, guys. If you're a younger guy, just getting into trading, you just heard the last couple of years, like, oh, that's it. Iran's going to start buying natural gas using the ruble, whatever. That shit has been going on forever. And 10 years from now, you're going to hear it again and again and again and again. At some point, it will crumble, for sure. But probably not in the relative short, long, medium, or long term. And there's a reason for that. And it's because, well, a lot of it has to do with antiquated systems. A lot of it has power. A lot of it has to do with, everybody talks about military power. Well, today, your biggest asset is probably not your military. Cyber is war nowadays. There are lots of wars going on right now, cyber wars. And that includes espionage and all kinds of other stuff. So my point is to say that Ethereum, if you look at really any big things that are happening in terms of tokenization, et cetera, most of the clearing ends up happening on Ethereum or a layer 2 thereof. So no, I don't. I think what needs to happen, I've said this a lot of times, is even Ethereum does this, but they kind of came to this. They were first. Everybody wants to be great at every use case. And Coinmetro we went through this as well. You want to be the jack of all trades. And in some business models that works, but very few. Here you have a lot of layer ones come out and go, oh yeah, you're in gaming, we got you. You're in finance, we got you. You like to build model cars and race them on a track, I don't know, we got you. I don't know for what, but we got you. Don't worry about it. And that inherently is a problem because you're not going to be the best option for everybody. So I think Ethereum and some of the other layer ones are figuring out what their niches are, and that can make them great competitors to Ethereum inside of those use cases. But I think Ethereum has a lot of legs before somebody gets anywhere close to kind of becoming quote unquote the next Ethereum. But we shall see. It's going to be interesting to watch. Ethereum was created by Knights Templars. All right. I guess I can't comment on that. Thanks for your answer. The plan and its steps sound great, but 1 to 2 years sound like a very long time. I don't think I'm talking about 1 to 2 years. I don't know what exactly you're commenting on, Victor, but I think you're talking about, I said Q4 into Q1. So that's 6 months from now and then 9 months from now, roughly. Liquidity is prioritized internally. There's already been changes, but you're going to see a lot more. And that tech debt essentially solves pretty much every bug you guys have ever seen on the platform. So yeah, you're gonna feel that, and you may even start feeling it next week. Maybe feel it now a little bit. Alec, hey guys, remember the like button? Yes, thank you, Alec. Thanks for letting everybody know. Like button, guys, confetti button, whatever buttons they got. Push them all, except for the one that says you don't like Kevin. We don't want you to push that one. Leave that one alone. Especially because it's my birthday today, so figured I'd let y'all know. If you want to, support me in any way, buy some XCM. That'll put a smile on my face. But yeah, it's my birthday today, 18th of July. So if I do get any type of box in the mail, I'm not opening it because I'm a bit afraid of, I don't know, open it like it blows up in my face, literally. Okay, yeah, BTC falls because of wider masses, but sometimes some catalyzers cause domino effects. Price falls because whales also take profits at high prices. Yeah, look, there's nothing's ever that simple, right, Victor? I mean, there's going to be a ton of things that play into any price move. You have, as you correctly pointed out, the catalyst, and then you have everything else. The catalyst for me is still reaction to news. Not that there can't be 10 or 15 other reasons, related or unrelated for that. Yeah, well, tech debt is unavoidable. You just don't want a lot of tech debt. But as soon as you kind of build something, you have tech debt. It's like buying a brand new computer. You bring it home, open the box, and you already have a better one. I mean, that's that's how it works. Can you tell us more about these new shorts you're doing on Insta, Twitter? How do you plan to share further? They're really good. Hey, Jack. So, I mean, definitely not my wheelhouse. I'm the guy making 50 takes and trying to find one where I don't say something stupid. But outside of that, it's all on our marketing team. And so I think right now we're trying to find kind of maybe keywords and see if kind of breaking news or whatever is the way to go. I like doing the content. I'd like to do more of it. I'd like to get better at it. So doing more of it's probably what's going to get me there. So right now, I think we're testing. They're doing a lot of tests, right, on different platforms, etc. I think once we find kind of the right combination, then I expect us to put a bit of money behind it as well, coming into September, October. Any update on internal trader for XCM? So has started as of yesterday. It's going to start slow, but it'll ramp up relatively quickly. And we hired a trader who's now been on the job for about 4 weeks now. And so doing a great job. Lots of cleanup, lots of help with some of that tech debt. Some of it's related to things that like charts, etc., and liquidity and other things. And also strategizing for essentially pushing out new products that'll help a lot with passive income. So lots of cool things going on behind the scenes, but you're going to feel more of that stuff as we get out of this current phase of kind of tech debt, etc. I know I said tech debt like a million times already. I can't help it. About focusing more on investors as short-term traders, even for automated DCA, good execution at right price can make a big difference after weeks and months. Oh, absolutely. You know, without going into like the humdrum technicals of all this, it's not all about liquidity. Meaning, a lot of those things that happen that seem, whether it's slippage, etc., that seem like it may be all liquidity related, it's not. And so, again, I hate to say this again, but tech debt, but liquidity is prioritized right now. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes with liquidity, aggregation, etc., both on the tech side and the actual liquidity kind of finance side as well. About Oracle's competing with Link, Pip looks better than Quant Parsec Freedom. Yeah, I haven't looked into almost any asset or token for a long time. So I might take a look at that, Victor. Thanks for posting it. Take a look, at least a bird's eye view. Any positive announcements today, Ham2B? Well, I think I made a few already off the top of my head, which was MM has officially started, market making has officially started on XCM. It's small at this point, but it's going to grow. So that's great. Took a while to get configs sorted out and connections sorted out, etc. So nice to see that started. Some potential breakthroughs on tech debt, which we'll know more about next week. Lots of internal discussions when it comes down to strategy, when it comes down to some of the new stuff we're going to be rolling out in September, October. Lots of progress there as well. USD progress as well, even though we're not clear yet on an exact date. There's progress, which is good. And yeah, the way we onboard clients, lots of progress there on what that's going to look like, the new version. We're hoping for, a 30, 45-second onboarding in the very near future. So yeah, there's actually a lot of great stuff happening. I'm trying to leave the, kind of leave the parade for somebody else, I mentioned earlier in the show that somehow I've been overly transparent for a long time now. So I'm trying to bite my lip a little bit and not let too much out of the bag. But what I can say is there's lots of positive progress around almost every aspect of the business in the last, 3 months, but it's becoming visual to everyone. You can see it internally at this point, and you guys are going to be able to see it externally in the relative near future. Hey, Kevin, looking good. Hope you're fine. Thank you. Not sure if tech debt has been talked about yet. No, tech what? But how much of that debt have you paid? So I think I already kind of answered this one, but if you want to kind of an additional wrap up, just ask me and I'll get to it at the end. We're about 40 minutes in. I should be able to get to the rest of the questions, hopefully. How's the CPO settling in? Yep, Chief Product Officer settling in nicely. Like every kind of new person that has authority in a company, it takes a bit of time to understand, how people work and what their vision is for their particular, where they sit, how they interact, getting used to kind of the company and how the company operates. But in the last 2 weeks or so, there's been, I think, pretty much near 100% alignment across the C-suite. There's still a few things, which is great, that we're back and forth on, and not just with our CPO, but all our Cs. But I haven't seen the same level of, I would say, dedication, excitement, and I know I say this a lot, but eyes on the prize in not just the C-suite, but the entire staff for probably 18 months, maybe even longer than that. It's really good to see. And every time I have a one-on-one with anybody in the C-level or in upper management, they share the same thing. They're like, man, it's really nice to see that the team is, eager and they want to solve problems. They want to solve challenges. They're happy. They're interacting more. And there definitely was a time when, stuff was rough and we didn't see that as much. Work was work. Work was a 4-letter word. And we're moving away from that. And that's definitely part, and this CPO is definitely part of that. So cool to see. What's the runway? So we're actually talking about this today. Won't go into the details because of that over transparency thing. But we, as of right now, estimation is about 9 months. And the reason that it changed from the last time I was asked, which is probably, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, 2 days ago, 7 days ago, I don't know what it was, is that it ties mostly to the fact that we as well try to earn passive income off of assets the company owns. And some of our, let's call them, I don't want to say accounting procedures, I want to say some of our visualization of our accounting dashboards didn't account for this so well. And so we had to retweak them a bit, and we found basically some assets that we thought were generally not available to us that were available to us. So that's a very high level response, but it's roughly 9 months at this point. So right now, and we've known this for a bit, well, we've known that there was some additional amount of funds that we have. We just didn't know the exact number. We had a ballpark, obviously, but until we knew what it was, I wasn't going to mention it, that's for sure. Been there, done that. But now we are fairly certain, almost to the penny, fairly certain, right to the cent. And so that there's been an assumption that it was around that amount of time. And a lot of our planning goes right into the core of that timeline. And that's why this, as I mentioned in one of Victor's questions, through Q4 into Q1, being able to focus on where our core client base, and then moving into potentially a much more profitable client base, all doing that where we expect as well the market to be moving in a positive direction. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Do you still run an OTC XCM book? No. If you mean like, do we off book have another? Do we do OTCs? So no. But if right now we weren't for a long time doing assisting with any OTCs because of the floor. There was one famous OTC we assisted with, which is basically a client that ended up moving to a jurisdiction we couldn't support out of XCM, couldn't do anything with it. And that guy, we got a bit of flack for that on Telegram, but it was, us trying to help out a loyal ICO member. Having said that, I think we have had some people approach us. There may have been some mediation, sorry. But officially, no. Like, we don't run an OTC book officially. What does the marketing team look like these days? Are you confident in the SEO, social, digital experience of the team so you can calculate? Yes. I guess the answer to the end part of that question, actually, if you look at SEO scoring for mobile website, all those things, and you compare it over the last six months to 12 months, you'll see a big improvement. It's been a focus, even though we've been building up. There's also work currently right now on launching a kind of SEO optimized update to our front end. So yes, I have lots of confidence. This team can do a lot of things that we haven't allowed them to do because we haven't been pushing money towards them. We will be pushing money towards them in September, October, with the launch of new stuff. As a 6-year XCM banker, I believe in the CM team. We have amazing features and the best customer first support, but people in the US especially don't know who CM is. Yeah, look, that's not just the US. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think you hit the nail on the head. We do have amazing stuff. We've never really put enough spend into getting people to know who we are. And we will start to change that towards the end of this year. And we're going to come with a mobile experience that is far optimized from where we are right now. And we're going to be building out a platform that solves pretty much every major concern that any of our users have had over the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So I'm confident that that's going to change. And it took us a while to get here, much more time than I think most of us, myself included, thought it would take. It's been a learning experience for sure, a humbling one. But we're still here. We're pushing. the team we have now, the entire kind of aura of the company is completely different. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But when I say it's different, I'm not saying it's night and day. And to some extent, I feel the same type of energy immediately following our ICO, which was an amazing energy. We probably had a less kind of experienced team, but the energy was amazing. And I'm seeing that energy. It's building up. We're eventually going to surpass, that ICO energy. And that's amazing. That's a hard thing to accomplish 6-7 years into a business. And I'm proud of that. I think that's something to be proud about for the entire team. Where's the little AI bot at? We need one for the Chan. Yeah, I don't know, man. We should ask them. That's thank you hereby. I see a lot of people, 3 people chat. Rob, Rope. Is it Rope or Roop? I don't know. But I'll put you up there since you said happy birthday. Thank you. Appreciate that. What do you think the catalyst will be for the next XCM uptrend? Good question. So, as with the previous question, there's still more people in the world, obviously, that don't know who we are than know who we are. But that could even be the same for Coinbase, man. I don't know. That's probably not the right way to phrase it. But we need to have more. People need to know who we are, right? People need to know why we're good at what we do. And definitely some spending on marketing is going to do that. In some ways, being at the price point we're at now, or anywhere between here and probably final price on the ICO, does open up, I think, a bit of more bullish possibility when we come into the beginnings of a potential bull market with marketing spend, a new optimized approach to how we onboard clients and their first experience with Coinmetro, with still the best support in the industry. All those things which should have been the catalyst, I think, are still the catalyst. It's just a matter of exposure and people knowing that we're there, as per the last question. Market sentiment's going to play a big role. Look, regardless of what anybody wants to say, sentiment on Bitcoin and Bitcoin price action plays a massive role, both in revenue on any type of, especially exchanges, but also in the movement of the market as a whole. Yes, there are trending altcoin groups, whether that come and go, that will do well, then not do well, etc., regardless of what's happening in the broader market. Generally speaking, Bitcoin runs the show. And so as you guys can clearly see, Bitcoin, there's a lot of news about selling and Mt. Gox and all this stuff. And Bitcoin's going to be ranging probably through the summer into early fall. And then we should see an October. That's what everybody's assuming. Not everybody, but most people are assuming an October, a very good October, leading into a good November, leading into a bit of a flat December, and then a very good Q1. And then probably a pause Q2, Q3, then a final really good Q4, and then some type of capitulation into Q1 2026. And following that, along with what I feel we have some pretty good timing in terms of not just current XCM price, but ability to spend a bit on marketing in the front running a potential initiation of a bull market in the crypto markets in general. And a whole new face of Coinmetro externally by then and internally right now. So I think all those things combined, if that answers your question. Thanks, Victor. I appreciate it. Well, then you're also awesome, I guess. I think it's a great asset to have an in-house trader. You get a lot of feedback directly. Yes, absolutely. We could have used one a long time ago. I'm glad we have one now. Do you think there's a chance of a cyber pandemic? You have to define what you mean by cyber pandemic, but I think broadly speaking, at any single point in time, there are many versions of what I think you mean happening all over the world. Because don't just think of it as not having internet or the internet not working or you not having access to your data or something. Think about data manipulation, think about news manipulation, think about narrative manipulation, all those things. And there are several countries that are really good at that. I won't name a list, but you probably already know who they are. Total CM volumes have increased well over the last few weeks. Is this from general market sentiment, or do you see other reasons? Market sentiment is one, for sure. I think also with us having some different market makers on certain altcoins that otherwise previously really didn't get traded with us, it brought in some of those communities, and they've started to trade, and thus increasing volumes as well. But sentiment, look, I hate to say it, but one of the goals of Coinmetro, and I think every exchange, is to make sure that during bear markets, which will probably change, I'll leave a caveat, will probably change. We probably won't see the same bull bear type of cycles that we've seen in the past. ETFs and things like that have a big role to reduce volatility in majors, which will reduce the amount of inflow and influx into alts potentially, which can potentially remove volatility from alts as well. Normally, selective alts with volatility. Anyway, long story short is we probably will see this change, but I still think we have one relatively similar bull cycle and probably entrance into at least some type of stagnation that similar to what we've seen over the past 15 years. And so market sentiment is going to be the biggest driver, which leads to fundamental drivers. And yeah, I still think that's basically what runs crypto up to this point in general. But I do expect that to change. And one of our goals is what I forgot I had a comment there somewhere. One of our goals is to make sure that we create product, services, and offerings that keep us profitable throughout bear markets. And so that is a major piece of the puzzle for us, starting in Q1 all the way through Q4 next year. Sure, I'll watch this video afterwards to see what was talked about. Like that, I joined like my bad. Just know, yeah, some big breakthroughs potential in the past few days, which I'll know in the next week or so. You can always ping me on Telegram. I'll be as transparent as I can be, considering my new transparency rules. Happy birthday! Thank you. Nice to decide to spend some time in your day with us. What's the best present you had today? This might be a trick question. I don't think I've opened a present today, but I did get. I think I got a free lunch from somewhere. In my email. I did get some nice greetings from family and friends, which is always great to see. People remember you, feel nice, you know, like you're here for a reason. But no, to be honest, I don't really remember the last time I got a birthday present. Don't feel bad about that. I'm not trying to elicit empathy here. Just whatever. Just another day. Another day where I get to say once, you know, oh, it's my birthday, and that's it. I get a little joy out of it, but that's it. Liquidity and execution improved with better connections and aggregated sources along tech that improved will be awesome. And you're welcome. I'll give you more alt suggestions for listing. Thanks, Victor. I appreciate that. By the way, I think we're entering into an AI winter. Any thoughts? Well, I just mentioned that some themes, you know, some groups of assets can do well outside of the narrative of a full market. AI definitely saw a pump, obviously, earlier this year for little or no reason, but because it was AI. Now, there are some companies out there doing pretty cool stuff, but the coolness of what they're doing is going to wear off. You know, your kind of Chat GPT, when it first came out, everybody wanted to go and type some nonsense in there, and regular users were, you know, using different AI tools to make weird images and pop them on Twitter. That's cool and fun. And there's applications for this, for sure, that are much more important. I could say the same thing, though, about NFTs. There's applications for non-fungibles that are really important, but, you know, nobody really cares yet. And I think, yeah, I would agree with you that we are going to see a slowdown. That happens with any basket that pops for little or no reason. Whether, you know, we're seeing now things like, well, meme coins are back in fashion. That kind of tells me that there definitely will be a bull market, because the lead into the last, at least, you definitely argue the last bull market, even the bull market before to a certain extent. But memes are definitely back. You also have RWA, and real world assets should be massive. because there are definitely applications there. Again, I do think though there is still a bit of it's cool now. It might be less cool in the relative near future. Eventually, though, those type of companies that do well, that are in any of these industries or spaces or what do you want to call them, and they actually apply what they're doing and they hit KPIs and they're doing well and they're solving problems, will be worth a lot of money. But just because you're in that space doesn't mean you should be worth a lot of money, I guess is my conclusion. Favorite cake and restaurant? Jesus. Favorite cake. I'm not a big cake eater. Used to be. Definitely shouldn't be anymore. I guess chocolate. I'd say any type of real chocolate cake, but I've definitely had some good cakes. I'm just trying to remember. It has been a long time. But chocolate. Let's just go with chocolate, nice and easy. Restaurant. So I'm actually a bit of a food, even though I've been vegan for a long time. I actually started eating meat a little bit in my diet, so I'm not really vegan anymore. Fun fact though, vegetarian means you don't eat anything from animals. Vegan only really means that you don't wear or use animal stuff. You don't wear leather shoes, etc. I was never vegan. I just say that because if I say vegetarian, some people think you eat chicken. I don't. But a pure vegetarian doesn't eat anything from animals, zero. And for the last couple of years, I would eat eggs, so I wasn't even a pure vegetarian. And now I'm eating a little bit of meat, so I think my diet might be a bit more, I don't know, Mediterranean maybe. I don't even know what the classification would be now, but I still eat more vegetables and grains, etc., than I eat meat. But I ate at a restaurant in Barcelona called Moments, Michelin star place. Fantastic. Wine pairing was off the charts, man. If you ever have a chance and you have the ability to get in there, try it. It was really good. But I have a ton of favorite restaurants that are like low key, low ball kind of shitholes that I really like. So I do like kind of testing out different places, and price point, whether it's I don't know, expensive or cheap, usually a lot of times doesn't make any difference. To be very honest. Do you know your Chinese zodiac sign? Yeah. Shit. I think I'm a rooster. I think cock. I think that's what it is. I don't remember. Or maybe that's not even the Chinese one. Happy birthday, Kevin. Waiting for Quant to move. All right. No comment on that one. Yep, RWA, very good. Yeah, well, this whole DPIN thing is a bit. RWA can be considered to be, in reality, to be DPIN, and it might use some AI. So, I don't know. Thank you. All right, Victor just stealing the show today. So I think that leads us up. We're 58 minutes in. So I don't see any more. I think I got to all the questions. I could be wrong. If I missed yours, please let me know. But I think I got to them. I just want to say, as I usually say, but rather than when I'm out the door, even though I'll be out the door here in a second, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support over these last 6 years. Whether you're new, whether you've been here for a long time, or whether you're XCM bag holder with some heavy bags, or you just got here and don't even know what XCM is, or you're watching this and don't even read, you're trying to find like how to fix your dishwasher and fucked up and clicked the wrong YouTube link. Whatever. Just want to say thanks for all the support over the years. Really do appreciate it. I know there's been lots of times where you've seen kind of positive Kevin, or I guess I'm never really negative Kevin. Maybe I have been a few times, but positive or kind of looking forward towards the future. That's the way I am. Honestly speaking, right now, it's different. And I know it's like a meme, it's different this time, but it's absolutely different this time. And I'm happy to say that I've seen a lot of great people put a lot of hard work into this company. Whether what they did turned out to not work out, or it did, or it became a piece of something later, I can't wait till we get to the point where all that kind of pays off and everybody can pat themselves on the back. All our stakeholders, all our shareholders, all our token holders, everybody that's ever been in the Coinmetro, inside of Coinmetro in the company. it's going to be a happy day, man, and we're getting closer and closer to it. So again, thank you, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up there. Oh, wait a minute. We do have one more question. Okay. Yeah. It's probably for me doing this and like moving away and I'm moving on the mic. So I apologize. I just can't stand still because I'm so excited, so I apologize. But yeah, we'll sort this out. I got a better mic. I just couldn't get it set up in time. And definitely we'll do more shorts. Absolutely. So yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Friday. See you guys in Telegram. Tag me there, Kevin Murcko. Make sure it's me, KevinMurcko, not Kelvin, not Kevin, not Kevin, not Murcko with just a C, just a K, none of that shit. KevinMurcko. Also hit me up on X. I still call it Twitter because X just sounds dumb. I even noticed when you Google something, if you put, let's say, Coinmetro Twitter, comes up. Put Coinmetro X, doesn't come up. Elon, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Anyway, so have a great weekend. If I don't see you around in Telegram, if you asked a question or didn't remember to ask a question you want to ask me, hit me up on any of those two channels, X or Telegram. See you guys around. Again, appreciate everybody here. Everybody, including you, Harry. I don't know if you're here. I appreciate you as well. Cheers, guys.